something unmuted coming through here. It'll give us good audio for everybody.
Sorry.
Oh, okay. Where are we? Muted, unmuted.
You're good now, Sharon.
Did you hear anything?
Just tell us again, those of you that don't know it, we now know that we're recording. Start from there. Thank you so much.
Okay, so you know that we're recording, and you can link up to it on our Facebook page. And everybody's going to be really good about muting their mics, so we have good audio. We have a raise the hand feature when we get to the Q&A. I'm still getting a bunch of feedback. Okay. And you can also ask questions in the chat part during the summit. And you do have the option of using the speaker view as opposed to the gallery view that might help you see the PowerPoint slides and whoever's speaking more clearly than all the photos. So it's fun to see everybody. I love seeing connecting faces to the names. And we'd also like to acknowledge that by making this a virtual summit, we have reduced our ecological footprint to almost zero compared to traveling across the country together to be in person. But first things first, I'd like to invite our interim CEO, the very special Reverend Patricia Bass, to lead us in an opening prayer.
Thank you, Sharon, and thank you, everyone. I feel very honored to be invited to be a part of tonight's event and open with prayer. And as Sharon was identifying herself as the very first ministry to receive the Earth Care certification, back when I was minister at Unity Church of Overland Park, very pleasant, gracious gift of ours was to have Mike there with us. And so we were an early adopter as well, a early award recipient, and it meant so much to our community. So anyway, thank you for inviting me. I'm going to begin our prayer time with a prayer that you may know or may have heard by Mark Nepo. So I invite you, if you will, to turn within to the God of your own understanding. You may wish to close your eyes if you're in a comfortable place to do so. And allow these words, this earth prayer by Mark Nepo, to bless you, and then we'll take just a moment of silence before concluding our prayer. O endless creator, force of life, seat of the unconscious, Dharma, Atman, Ra, Kelb, dear center of our love, Christ light, Yahweh, Allah, Mara, Mother of the universe. Let us, when swimming with the stream, become the stream. Let us, when moving with the music, become the music. Let us, when rocking the wounded, become the suffering. Let us live deep enough till there is only one direction, and slow enough till there is only the beginning of time, and loud enough in our hearts till there is no need to speak. Let us live for the grace beneath all we want. Let us see it in everything and everyone, till we admit to the mystery that when I look deep enough into you, I find me. And when you dare to hear my fear in the recess of your heart, you recognize it as your secret, which you thought no one else knew. Oh, let us embrace that unexpected moment of unity as the atom of God. Let us have the courage to hold each other when we break and worship what unfolds. Oh, nameless spirit that is not done with us, let us love without a net, beyond the fear of death, until the speck of peace we guard so well becomes the world. Just take a moment of silence and allow these words to seep deeply into your heart. And so it is that we bless this celebration tonight. We are so grateful for all the leaders of this team, for the conveners of this summit, for tonight's presenters, for every recipient of this award, those who received the awards, so many awards tonight, those who received them prior to now and who will receive them in the future. We are grateful for all who are partnering together to ensure that we are truly loving co-creators with all creation. May tonight's summit be a blessing to us, to all who participate with it in the future, and may it also be a blessing to the world as we align in consciousness together. And so it is, we pray in gratitude. Amen. And again, I thank you for this opportunity to be with you in prayer tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Patricia. Well, to set the stage for the summit, I think it's appropriate that we share our vision, mission, and purpose statements of the Unity Earth Care team. Our vision statement is, all humanity lives in a spiritual consciousness that manifests as loving coexistence with all creation and care for our Earth home. Out of this comes our mission, to support Unity Worldwide Ministries in fostering the awareness of our spiritual oneness with Earth home and to promote active care of creation. And finally, our statement of purpose, knowing that the Unity movement is guided by a vision of sacredness and the interconnectedness of all, interdependence of all life. It is a journey of spiritual relationships with Earth and its creatures. It is through awakened consciousness that we see everything as the presence of God. So here we are in 2020, moving from perfect vision, mission, and purpose to meaningful action. At the 2019 convention, I challenged our ministries to a tenfold increase in the number of churches certified as an Earth Care congregation. The first step of which requires the ministry to create an Earth Care commitment of consciousness. Well, something happened since last year's convention. The Earth put us all on a timeout. All it took was a worldwide pandemic to stop us in our tracks in ways we couldn't conceive of doing voluntarily around the world, everybody cooperating. The carbon footprint of humanity has been greatly reduced in the past 90 days, and we've all learned a simpler way of life. Even this summit, what previously would have been one small segment of convention schedule, is now an evening dedicated to Earth Care, what we're doing and what we all hope to do in the future. Tonight, we will honor one of our longtime leaders, celebrate our newly certified congregations, learn from our Earth Star Award recipients, and hopefully connect with each other in ecologically meaningful ways as we continue to move from perfect vision to meaningful action. I'd like to invite team member David Cordova to share with us an overview of the many services the Unity Earth Care team provides. David?
Thank you. Hi, I'm David Cordova, and I'm pleased to tell you about the resources that we have available. I am from Unity Church of San Antonio, Texas, and it's amazing to me that if you just put into your search engine, type Unity Worldwide Ministries Earth Care, that you will be led to the homepage of our Earth Care program. And there you will find many resources, items such as how to start a green team and keep it going, sample visions, covenants, vision statements, green team activities, the Awakening the Dreamer program, information about the mentoring calls, which I host on the third Saturday of the month and at 11 o'clock Central. And our team members are available to provide one-on-one coaching. And then we have some other specialized coaching, such as Sacred Activist Coaching, led by Sylvia Hayes at www.sylviahayes.net. We have Sacred Activism Workshops, led by Beth Rems. And she's available at Beth Rems at info. You can find her on our Facebook page. And I make myself available to help us develop our own Earth Care Covenant, which I've done with both Reverend Linda from Unity, Silent Unity, and now with my Reverend Jimmy Scott. So thank you for this great event, and I'll turn it back over to Mike to proceed on the summit.
Thank you, David. This is Mike McCord, and I'd like to say a few words about a dear friend of mine. His name is Ron Haben. Hi, Ron, my friend, my old buddy. We've known each other for a long time now, haven't we? I'll never forget meeting you and Kim Farmer for the first time when we gathered at the environmental table at Unity's mid-year leadership conference on a cold January day in 2008 at Unity Village. I can still picture the room and everything about it. It was really, I knew it was an important moment at that time. It was there that we discussed how to put flesh on the bones of an environmental program that had been initiated the prior year, thanks to Kathy and Jane Simmons. Those were challenging times, but very exciting, weren't they? I mean, we knew something big was going to happen. And a lot of water has passed under the bridge for both of us since then, and I know there were times when we wondered whether this thing was ever going to work. Actually, as I was researching my files for this talk, I came across some things that reminded me of some of those times, and I'm sure you do as well. But Ron, with steady leadership and perseverance, along with the help of a small but dedicated and talented group of volunteers, as we all were and are, persevered. And we mustn't forget the unwavering support of Unity Worldwide Ministries from the very beginning. Earth Care started as nothing but a vision for a better world and grew to become a full-fledged ministry. I'm proud of it, and I know everybody associated with it is as well. Ron, you have created and left behind an infrastructure from which this team will continue for many years to come. The Earth Care team wants to express its gratitude by sending you the token of our appreciation. Martha, would you like to hold it up?
Yes, this is for you, Ron. Let me see over here. Thank you. If everyone can see it, it says Earth Care Lifetime Achievement Award 2020, Ron Haben, for compassionate service to our planet. We love you, Ron. Thank you for everything. We'll ship this to you.
And yeah, thank you, Ron, for showing us the path to creating an environmentally sustainable, spiritually fulfilling, and socially just world. God bless you. And would you like to say a few words?
He may not be with us, but
He is with us, but I don't know.
oh,
Thank you very much, my good friend, and I remember it very well too. And thank you, Mike. Thank you, Reverend Sharon. And I certainly, the leadership of UWM, as Mike said, has backed us very, very strongly through over 11 years now that we've been doing this. I just want to say that for me, it all started out with what I call a God moment. And I think everyone in this group has probably had those God moments. It came to me in my office that one day I should really be combining my
Ron, I don't know if you can hear us, but we can't hear you at the moment. Ron?
Did he accidentally get muted? Let's see if we can find him over there.
I see, let me find,
He got muted.
let me see here.
Can you unmute him?
I'm looking, yep, I can. I can ask him to unmute, yes. So Ron, a message should come up asking you to unmute. Down to the bottom of your screen with your cursor, a toolbar, hopefully will come up.
I don't see him in.
Ron is under the name Annette. This must be Annette. Thank you so much, Annette. If you take your cursor or your mouse, bring it to the bottom of the screen if you're on a computer or a laptop, a toolbar will pop up. Once the toolbar is up, take the cursor to the far left, you'll see a microphone that says mute underneath it, and if you can click on that. I'll also send another message asking you to unmute. Yeah.
Scrolling to the right-hand corner of the little picture box will take you to that selection of mute or unmute.
Okay.
As co-host, it's not giving me the chance to unmute.
No.
When we're learning.
Mm-hmm. We know Polly figured it out. Let's hold that vision. Mark and Annette are working on it. Would you
Kathy,
believe?
can you unmute everybody and then we'll all mute ourselves?
I don't think so.
I don't think so. I don't think so. Let me see. I can only ask all to unmute, and I've already asked Ron to and Annette to unmute. So one thing we could do is while he's working on that, I could share with everybody the information about those ministries that have certified this year in the Earth Care program. Mike, would you recommend that right now? What would you recommend? You'll have to unmute, Mike. I can't hear you.
I think so. I don't know. I can see Ron. I don't know. We heard him for a while there, then I don't know what happened. He is muted. Maybe we can go ahead and come back to let him finish. If you want to go ahead with the...
Yes, so if Ron and Annette can hear me, once you're in, just say so, and then I'll finish the information about the congregations that we are highlighting this year, and then we'll back up and we'll make sure that Ron gets to share with us. I know we all would very much like to hear from Ron. So friends, while that's happening, I'm going to go over and I want to share with you the information that we wanted to highlight tonight, and amongst the Green Star recipients. As somebody that served with several others years ago when we began to really, from the grassroots up, people just like everyone in this room said yes to caring for the earth through their Unity ministry. We formulated this idea of an Earth Care program, and we envisioned it in the Unity way that we start within. So this year, the Level A recipients, those that have submitted their application for the program for Level A, which is the covenanting, to really go into prayerful agreement with that which we call God and the universe, knowing that we are working together on behalf of the care for creation. These ministries we want to just appreciate as we have the other ministries over the many years at the convention, which of course is happening differently, which is what led to this amazing summit with all of you. So let's all celebrate and honor and give thanks for Unity Wimberley, Texas. And the minister there is Reverend Jill Carey. Also Unity of Roseville in Roseville, California. You can see this on your screen, Reverend Mary LaCal. The ministry that I first started in, Unity of Anchorage, Alaska, with Rachel Simpson as their minister. Notice how we have ministries from Alaska all the way into Florida, the next minister, Unity Spiritual Center of Panama City in Florida. Ron Holdaway, the licensed Unity teacher there that submitted the application on behalf of his team and ministry. Unity in Marin, which is California, and we currently believe that Reverend Tim Lytle is right there leading that group. The application came in with his name on it. We want to thank all of you in that ministry. Unity of Las Cruces in New Mexico, Helen Wright, one of our team members. We're so grateful to have them submit and become a part of the Earth Care program.
Hello, can you all hear me?
Yes, Ron. If
Okay, new computer here.
Okay, don't touch any buttons, Ron, and I'll just.
I didn't cut last time, so
Okay, we just.
anyway, you guys go ahead and let me know when you'd like me to respond.
Perfect, we'll do it.
Okay.
Unity Spiritual Center in Vero Beach, California, Dan Holloway. And now for the ministries that have fulfilled all the requirements of Level C. And many of you are represented, I think, today in this summit. Unity Center of Peace in Chapel Hill, North Carolina. The Reverends Victoria Loveland Goen and Rosemary Hyde. Unity of Valley Spiritual Center in Vacaville, California, Reverend Dahlia Adams. And of course, Unity Church of Charleston, South Carolina, Reverend Ed Kosak. Unity Community Center, Central Oregon, we've got our team member Sylvia with us, that's her ministry, Reverend Jane Hyatt. We want to just appreciate each and every one of you, and you can see that there are 59 ministries now that are in the program, and we're going to continue to envision that tenfold increase, but just like the yeast in all that flour, and Jesus talked about that, we are the ones that are really enlivening the consciousness of unity worldwide, and of course, making the way for Earth Care throughout our Unity ministries. Okay, Ron, we would love to hear from you. Is Ron there with us?
Okay, I want to thank again Mike and my friend and Reverend Sharon and the UWM board, because from day one they've been very, very supportive of our efforts. And I just again want to say this all began for me is what I call a God moment, and that is something we can all relate to. I was in prayer and heard that I should combine environmental work with my spiritual work with Unity. And I just put it out there. And 3 days later, I got a phone call from a minister in Michigan who back then Florida had one area code. And she misdialed and it was calling a Unity minister in Miami and got me. And so, and we all kind of know how that works, but it really does. And I told her that, gee, as a matter of fact, tell me more about this meeting. And she encouraged me to come. And I said, you know, I'm a humble congregant. I have no credentials except I pray a lot, you know. And she said, perfect. Just come to the meeting in January. And I was almost out of my seat. And one other thing, there's this thing called money and getting to the village, which I've never been to before. And by the way, Floridians love to come to the village in January. We really thrive on. And so she said, very simple, go to your board, ask them for $1,000, and then get on a plane. Oh, okay, I didn't realize it was that easy, particularly since we didn't even have a minister at the time. We were betwixt and between. So, but I just felt that she was right. And so I did, and I got it. And as I like to keep mementos, here's the receipt from 2008 of just, you know, just saying, here it is. And off we went. And I had the really great pleasure of meeting Mike and an extraordinarily bright, brilliant writer, who is an LUT and a curriculum writer for Unity named Kim Farmer. And the three of us sat in room and we all decided on environmental work under spiritual social action. There were actually 4 teams that made the cut out of 9, environment being 1, and we were just drawn to each other. And working on the model from Northwest Ministry, we came up with the idea of Earth Care and Earth Care certification, et cetera, et cetera. And Mike and I have been close friends for a very long time, and no, I haven't really been challenged nearly the way our friend Mike has, and no need to get into details, but he would give his life for this team, and we all cherish him immensely. I just want to say a couple of other things. That we wanted to create a God-centered environmental consciousness throughout the movement. And we wanted to green our churches, okay? However, we felt even more powerfully, we wanted to envision environmental consciousness to our congregants and their kids. And we wanted to cement their newly gained knowledge from Unity Church in Earth Care, and to bring those new habits home, to be better stewards of the earth throughout the movement, and to always hardwire the knowledge that they got this impetus from their church, from their ministry, and from the volunteers on their local green team. And so what we wanted to do was plant seeds and what we would call promote active care for creation. Now, very quickly, I'm going to forward to December 2016. And after a lot of editing on a lot of sweat and tears, we created something that is now on the website called Ecological Social Justice. And we added it to the actions section that churches can take on their path to being Earth Care certified. And part of it reads thusly: to promote a socially just world in which everyone has a voice and equal access to the resources and opportunities of society. We affirm a world that is free from discrimination and oppression based on race, religion, class, gender, age, physical ability, or sexual orientation. And we can hear how today, more than ever, for the good and bad, this is absolutely on the mark. And with that, I just want to make a couple of comments as now a loving, supportive outsider, and maybe just a few of my visions, if I may. I would hope, and this has probably occurred, that we could recruit at least an African-American leader to Earth Care team. Even more, it would be great to encourage the recruitment of African-American congregants to the green teams in North America. Now more than ever, I think, I'm certain that we need that perspective. As we all know, COVID-19 outcomes are statistic proof that the rate of African-American pre-existing conditions due to environmental injustice have come to the fore. And we've seen such issues as asthma, diabetes, obesity, and unfortunately, significantly shorter lifespans, often as much as 10 years, are a result of environmental injustice. And so I absolutely think that this is imperative that we bring African-American perspective to the great work that we're doing. One other observation, with offending no one, we may wish to get just a bit younger. The youngest member of our team is a robust 50 years old, and it would be a wonderful thing to recruit some 20 or 30 somethings who shepherd little ones on their behalf. We are not the inheritors of the worst effects of climate change. Our children and grandchildren will be, although we're beginning to get our share. We're living obviously through cataclysmic times. Perhaps our planet is screaming enough. We at the summit recognize that when we do wash our hands, wear our masks, and keep social distance, we are caring for the safety of one another. And I believe that these gentle behaviors are environmentally based acts of love. They reinforce the wisdom that is in truth, that we really are one. In these acts, we reaffirm what we call sacred reciprocity. In conclusion, I am confident that the Unity Earth Care team going forward will proceed with wisdom and courage to accomplish what there is to do. We are assured that UET will do and give their best by living the truth they know. They have, are, and will make a difference. And so it is. Amen. And thank you.
Thank you, Ron. That was beautiful. Very, very timely too. Thank you so much, and we'll be in touch. And I know you have a lot more to give to the world, and you're a blessing. Thank you. I'm going to move on now to just quickly go through the list and announce the Green Star awardees for this year. This will be followed by a discussion that each of the congregations will have. So I'm not going to go into all your activities. These are congregations that have accomplished at least 3 major activities in the year. And but I have asked that a summary of all of your achievements be put on the Earth Care website. So that should be up in the next couple of days. So please read them because they've done some truly amazing things. Quickly, the Green Star awardees for this year, and this is for calendar year 2019, is the first one that I'm going to list, and this will go in the same order in the discussion. But first, Unity Spiritual Campus of St. Petersburg, Florida. Senior Minister is Reverend Temple Hayes. Green Star contact Teresa Miller, and the panelist today is Douglas Bonar. They've had a very robust environmental program. I'm so impressed with them. Secondly, Unity of the Blue Ridge in Mills Creek, North Carolina. Senior Minister Darlene Strickland. The Green Team contact is Judy McCown, and the panelist today is Lisa Bruggeman. They just blow me away. They've had this award, I think, 4 straight years, and they're amazing. Next one is my own church, Unity Church of Overland Park. Our interim minister is David Mosier. I'm the facilitator of the Green Team, and today Christine Caceres will be representing us. We did 3 activities, but one big one. I won't go into it, but it was a pretty big one. And at any rate, we're still going. And lastly, Unity Church of Charleston, South Carolina, and they were both certified and got the Green Star Award today. Congratulations to Senior Minister Ed Kosak. The Green Team contact and representative is Elizabeth Kane, and also Sarah Scott Putnam. And so that's really it. And so I'll turn it over to Sylvia. I'm sorry, we're going to go in now to the presentations. So I would ask the representative for First Unity Spiritual Campus of St. Petersburg, if you'd like to say a few words about yourself.
Hello, everybody. This is Douglas. I'm a St. Petersburg, Florida member, very proud member of the of our Unity Church, the first Unity Spiritual Center in St. Petersburg. And we have the support of our minister, Reverend Dr. Temple Hayes. We have the support of our administration. We have a very lively campus, very active campus. They're allowing us to be on the platform to make presentations about the earth. We have several committees that we're working with. We have a education committee to educate people in our congregation at First Unity Spiritual Campus. We're educating people about recycling, sustainability. We have an events and partnership committee that's working. We've partnered with many different organizations in our community. We're really, really excited. We've partnered with the Pachamama Alliance, which was mentioned earlier. We've partnered with League of Women Voters to do presentations. We've partnered with Florida Power and Light to do different presentations. Many different organizations locally that we're partnering with. We feel this is a main thrust for all of us to really be a member of the community. To look, who do we need to reach out to? Who can we receive from? So this is part of First Unity, to really be a part of the community, be a member of the community. We have an event. One of our mantra I'll share with all of you. A mantra that we've been going by is the Tao of activism, the yin and the yang of activism. The yin of activism is sacred activism. We have to look, who are we? What do we bring with our theology, our unity, understanding of our interconnectedness? We are connected with the living earth and her inhabitants. So that's the yin, is sacred activism. And the yang is what we're calling sandals on the ground. We are out there, you may have seen in the picture, we're out there marching. We are cornering. Our senior minister, Reverend Dr. Temple Hayes, is out there with a megaphone, and we are becoming a part of the community. We are seen, and we have great support for all the programs that we're doing. We've done many different programs. We've shown videos. We showed the sequel. I don't know if any of you have seen the sequel. Brilliant movie. We partnered with the St. Petersburg Time Bank. And if you have a time bank in your local areas, I strongly advise, find out, partner with your time bank. It's so important part of this. So we've shown different videos. We started a recycling program within the spiritual campus, reaching out again to community members. We've done a beach party where we had an open house. We've done another movie, Paris to Pittsburgh. If any of you are interested, watch this movie, Paris to Pittsburgh. Show it to your congregation. We had a really good, robust showing of that. So again, there's many of us involved with this. We have real support from our ministerial team, support from our administration and our board of directors, and we're so blessed to be doing this work and to be honored. I'm wearing my Earth Day shirt today, 50th anniversary. I'm sure you're all aware of that 50th anniversary. Yes, we're doing this. We are out there. We are being the change. So for everybody in here, many blessings. Namaste. Thank you for what you are doing. And I'm complete.
Thank you, Douglas. That was amazing. Yeah, you guys are amazing. I've known it for a long time. Okay, Unity of the Blue Ridge. Lisa, would you like to say a few words?
Sure. Thank you all for having us on here. I am Lisa Bergman from Unity of the Blue Ridge, which is in Asheville, North Carolina. And it's been really exciting to see the changes in our church growing and how we've been able to have an impact in the community. Our green team, I would say, is very strong but mighty. And unfortunately, a lot of times I don't get to even make it to the meeting, so I just have to keep up through email, which again reduces my carbon footprint because I'm coming from work, and so I can just hop on there with them. But a very strong team that I think has really inspired and had a real ripple effect on the rest of our community, the rest of the congregation. Just some things in the last year. For several years, we've been doing repurpose events, which our community, our congregation has really enjoyed, of just having people bring in gently used items for swapping instead of just adding to the landfill. And then this year we added a e-waste recycling event, and that was so popular that we're going to be doing it a second time this year. So we were able to gather all kinds of electronics and GPS devices, ink cartridges, things like that. And we actually sent them off to Planet Green Recycles, and we're able to raise money that way too. So that was really great. Since Earth Day this year fell on Easter, we did a special event later in August to bring more attention to and well, not this year, but last year, 2019. And that was actually during the times of the fires in the rainforest. And so it was a really poignant time when our Reverend was talking about climate change. And I think it really struck home for a lot of people. We were also able to have a partner in our community. The director of the Creation Care Alliance of Western North Carolina was there with us, and also awarded our community a certificate for our partnership, our work there. And I just really appreciate that this initiative has allowed us to reach out and grow our connections with other churches in the area. And another thing that's really been exciting is that we are at a time where we need to fix and change and grow things physically in our church. And that has been the perfect timing, because for several years we've been talking about looking into solar and looking into wind panels and looking into just out in our church. And now we're able to do that seamlessly as we rebuild and redo things, instead of having it be a new cost. It's something that we're looking at anyway. And so it's like, it just seems like the perfect convergence of everything in the universe, although it might not be comfortable to have all of these things happening at once with the pandemic and just the racial inequities coming to the forefront for everyone finally. I think that it's creating a call to action that is so loud in the community that if one piece really resonates with people, it's getting their ear so that they're hearing about all of the ways that that we are all interconnected, and just paying attention to that sacred interconnectedness with the world, each other. That's been really exciting. And just one more fun thing that our community did. We have 2 congregants who are amazing with their work with Project Drawdown, and they did a presentation to our sustainability team and presented on the most comprehensive plan ever proposed to reverse global warming. And that was really exciting. It spurred a lot of small group discussions and talks about how aspects that we are doing or what ways could we improve. And I think that small but mighty team is having quite the impact on our congregation, because we're starting to see quite a few of our members go and change their practices because they are seeing their neighbors do it. So that's exciting to see that carried out into the world. And Douglas was talking about mentioning the 50th anniversary. I just want to say this year, of course, that was like right in North Carolina when we were shutting down and had just shut down. And during the day, I'm actually a preschool teacher. And so I was doing that with my children online and asked my children to talk about family members that they loved and wanted to send good energy to. And one of my children wanted to present the mandala that she had made for Mother Earth as part of her family. And it just really warmed my heart to see that, like, okay, these are the 3-year-olds. And if I can be connected to our sustainability and green team at our church, and then I can be a part of that change and also be bettered by them, then I can take what I'm learning and pass it on to my students, and they in turn are passing it on to the next generation. So thank you for having us.
Thank you, Lisa. And, you know, as impressive as that is, I know there's even more. I know this was limited to 2019, but you guys have really done some great things. Thank you. Okay, Unity Church of Overland Park. I think I've heard the name before. Let's see. Yeah, I think I remember that. Yeah, Christine Caceres, could you say a few words about our green team?
Yes, so my name is Christine Caceres, and I'm fairly new to the green team. Mike has asked me to share a little bit about the history and what we did. So in 2004, Mike McCord with 3 others recognized the need for the environmental team. And that was actually the second most important issue in 2004. They had the following vision: to promote stewardship of the environment and an awareness of our oneness with the earth. So it was a mission. The mission was basically to envelop and sustain participants for the rest of their lives with a spiritual awareness of our oneness and our earth home, and promote active care of creation in the areas of sustainable living, natural resources, respect for the interdependence of the universe, and advocacy. So through the efforts of the Green Team, the church has been recognized for numerous awards. In 2006, the Unity Church of Overland Park entered a Change a Light, Change the World competition in Kansas and Missouri. We placed second in terms of kilowatts saved and pounds of greenhouse gas emissions saved. In 2010, UCOP was recognized by the Unity Worldwide Minister Earth Care as the 4th Unity congregation to complete all 7 steps on the path to Earth Care. In 2015, the Board of Directors adopted a climate change resolution that was confirmed by the church in January 2016. Congressional Green Star recipients for 4 consecutive years, and an R5 Waste Reduction Award in 2016. So we were the only religious organization to be recognized by Johnson County. A 500 grant for waste minimization products received through the Johnson County Department. So this is just a little bit of the history. So as others talked about, we also have had a really strong commitment to our community. And we've partnered with groups like the Sustainable Sanctuary Coalition and Cool Congregations. And the Cool Team member in creation of the Earth Care program for Worldwide Unity Ministers. So our Green Star Award it really involved 3 things. So this year in 2019, I should say, we were part of the Clean Stream Day, which I know that we have done many times, and it's something that people really enjoy, getting out into the community, meeting other groups that are interested in bettering our community. And then another thing we did is we did planting independence 1 yard at a time. So what that is there's actually an organization here called The Whole Person, and they advocate for people who have disabilities. And so what our Green Team did is we went out and we cleaned up their homes so that they could enjoy their personal environment. And so these are people with disabilities, and so they're really limited on the ability for them to clean up their home and the surroundings and really enjoy that. So this was a single mom. And then what we did also is we became aware that the Board of County Commissioners here in Johnson County had passed a resolution in December 2007 to reduce the greenhouse gas by specific dates. And we realized that those dates were coming and that people weren't talking about this petition anymore. So what we did is the resolution. So what we did is we created a petition. We got 192 signatures, and we presented it to the commissioners on July 10th, 2019. And so this really had an impact of us being able to meet the commissioners. And then also we brought other churches into this, and we brought other organizations that came, and there was a kind of a whole group of us that went to the Board of County Commissioners and then even met with them later to really encourage them to reconsider and to resolve to meet those deadlines they made in 2007 and to be proud that they made those deadlines. And then we were super excited that we have what's called the KC Climate Action Coalition that just recently started. It was started by 2 council people and actually also a mayor. And so what they did is they're pulling together all the different environmental groups into one large coalition. And they've recently just released their playbook for how they think that we as a community can address climate change. And we have been asked to be an official partner of that. And we are the only religious organization that has been honored to be asked that. And we were able to get that through our board and approved. And it wasn't unanimous. We had some conflict, and so we had to speak up for it. And that, we've done roughly 150 activities in the years since Mike started this group, and I'm just really proud to be able to jump in and join in. So thank you.
Thank you, Christine. Very good. And then the last church today we wanted to recognize is Unity Church of Charleston, South Carolina. And I think Elizabeth and I guess Sarah as well, or Scotty, she's referred to. Would you guys like to say a few words about your church?
Yes, can you hear me well?
Yes.
Good. So I'm Elizabeth Kane, and I'm an LUT and was the assistant to the minister at Unity of Charleston. And when I completed my LUT program, I was looking for what my ministry would be. And so I had the pleasure and honor of going to the Parliament of World Religions in Toronto in the fall of 2018 and went to a Green Faith workshop. And something that was said in that workshop spurred all the work that we did, which was if you look back in history, any cultural or social change that has ever happened in our country, it was birthed in the churches. And so care of the earth was on my heart. It melts together with what I believe is our spiritual responsibility. And so I just started talking with people. What I found is that many people have this on their heart and don't know what to do about it. And so that was the question that we gathered together a green team to talk about is how do you honor the oneness that we have with the earth, and what does that look like? And so we can talk all day about what, the ways in which things are not going well, and we can talk, and it seems overwhelming. It seems like a huge problem, but actually we started breaking it down into pieces of things in which we could affect. And we began inside the church. And so we slid into the Green Star certification sort of sideways and backwards. We started making lots of changes within the church. And then I said, well, Green Faith has this certification program. I wonder what Unity has. And then we go look, and it's like Unity has this amazing program that we didn't know anything about. So thank you for all the work that you've all done that allowed us to do our work. And so, as has been said before during this evening, is that the work begins inside. And so we talked about creating, envisioning, and to hold our thoughts and daily mindfulness practice around the earth, how to increase our sensory experiences with the earth, go be in nature, to examine life practices at church and at home, to have explicit prayers and meditation and gratitude for all of which the earth gives us. And from this place of internal spiritual work, we can move out and affect change. So a lot of it is about people organizing themselves in a way that is in the best interest for all of us. So we've done lots of things. And the first thing we did is we looked at the practices within the church. When we hold a dinner, how is it that we can be trash free? We now can do a dinner for 150 people and have a little tiny bag of trash at the end of the day. So we put in composting, we put in rain barrels, we put in a garden, and the food that we grow in there is given away in our food pantry that we hold in our church. We have the share table. Anything you don't need anymore that's still of good use, bring it in and put it in, and that share table is there all the time. We went to reusable name tags each year. We went to lots of information on the bulletin boards. We have a monthly eco-justice newsletter, and we have speakers come in each month, everything from, nutrition and growing food in a way that's sustainable to carbon offsets and who to contact your congressman about this issue. So there's lots of ways in which to impact, but as I've heard also said this evening, the biggest success is when people go home and continue what they've learned in their home. And then their children see it, and their grown children see it, and their neighbor sees it. And it goes out exponentially from there. And we have a green team that some would research products that were more ecologically kind to the earth. We have a bookstore, so those were brought in as part education and part buy your wooden toothbrush here. You know, it was down to that level of information that we were giving out. And we also work with the children in our children's program with the idea of gathering seeds from the squash and drying them to be used again, and they would help us harvest and clean. And they made mason bee homes, and we did a lot of education around bees. You know, we take food that has not been served yet down to the potluck in the park. Anyway, I could go on and on and on. Our recycling includes, you know, film and phones and ink cartridges and just all kinds of plastic bags. And we have people who've agreed to adopt it. I'm the battery recycle person. Once a month, I'll come and take it where it goes. And so just through these little bits of things that one person can do, it creates a movement. It creates energy and power in motion. And the stories that people come to me and tell me now, guess what I did? Guess what I did? There's a real energy around it. And I know that we're in a trying time right now, but I do believe that we're having an unveiling, a clearing, and people are ready, especially Unity people are ready. And so stay positive and stay active, and it'll all get done.
Thank you, Elizabeth. Before we proceed, I want to make an apology here. I apparently forgot to include Unity in Linwood, Washington. They achieved level C, and I guess in all the hubbub of me putting this together and getting things updated, and I just retired, I have to really sincerely apologize. But yes, Unity in Linwood did achieve a level C, and congratulations to you. We'll be sure we put that in the next newsletters. Thank you for reminding me, and I do apologize. Thank you for all you're doing. So I'd like to turn it now over to Sylvia.
Well, I'm Sylvia Hayes. I'm one of the EarthCare Worldwide team members, and I live in the Northwest, so I've been lucky enough to be a couple of times at Unity Linwood, and they are doing amazing work. But what I really want to mostly share, I'm so freaking inspired by all of this. And my own little congregation here in Central Oregon just got sea level, but we're a long ways, honestly, from doing what's being demonstrated by our award winners. And one of the things I'm now realizing I really struggle with these online Zoom meetings is everybody here needs an applause. Ron, that was visionary. And this is a visionary, needed, necessary time. And all of you guys. So I'm risking a Pandora's box in that maybe everyone just for a second can unmute and we can applaud Ron and all of our award recipients for like just a few seconds, and then we'll remute. Are we good? Awesome. All right. So please do remute. I'm sorry, but so that we can hear each other. I posted in the chat it was very hard to do because the questions all run together, but I posted in the chat some of the questions that we have let our panelists know we're going to be asking. But to all of the participants here, please also feel free, if you have a specific question, to post that in the chat. And if you also know, you can raise your hand if you know how to do that down in the chat box. I will do my best. Kathy and I will do our best to catch those in the time that we have. So what I would like to do after the way too small congratulations is for our panelists, the first question that we put out is, what do you see as the benefits or challenges of having a green team or an EarthCare team? And how has it impacted your congregation to date? And any of you that feel that you have something to add there, I think the simplest way with the 4 of you would just be unmute and pipe in. We'll try to manage it.
Yeah, this is Douglas again from First Unity in St. Petersburg. It's caused many of us in our congregation to look at a wider expanse. Many times we're just looking within our own spiritual evolution, our unfoldments become all we are, but to understand, and this is what I think the benefit is, we're looking at the wider scope of how we interact with a living earth. From our theology, of course, we know that the earth is alive, we're part of it. So this is drawing a lot of attention to our responsibility as new thought thinkers to a living earth. It's opening up people's vistas, their eyes, to beyond just the self and the community, but to our earth.
Thank you. That's awesome. I truly think New Thought right now is a super powerful and needed platform. And I just appreciate to bring healing into our world. And I appreciate what you all are doing. Did I hear someone else?
I think for Unity of Charleston, one of the things is that people feel power. There is something I can do about this. We feel so powerless with so many of the institutions seemingly set and on auto roll. And maybe things will change now with the pandemic and some more highlighting of what's going on with the climate. But what I saw is people feeling that they could have effect and that they are powerful in a way that can affect others. And I think it's the groundwork for many kinds of work, including social justice. You know, we call our eco-justice the work that we do because many times it is the folks in poverty that experience the worst of climate change. And so that is a form of social justice that we do. But it also, I think it opened people up to look around and say, there are things I can do about other things as well. So I feel a groundswelling around that in our church.
Great, thank you.
And I would like to add to that, I'm Reverend Scotty, and I am brand new. Not only am I new to the Green Team, but I'm new to Unity Charleston. I'm the new assistant minister, and I'm here supporting Elizabeth, who, as y'all can tell, has done an incredible job. I came in on this pandemic, right in the middle of it, and what I've seen that she and the team has created in the last probably 6 or 7 years since I've been there, because this is coming back home for me. It is amazing, from the garden to the recycle and all the things that she's already said. And so it's such a benefit and it's such a reward to walk in and know that every single Sunday we have a group of people that show up on Zoom to do a meditation and prayer and mindfulness, to hold that space and that container for there to be more programs like this and for people to understand it. So it's been amazing. And I'm so blown away by everyone and everything that's been offered up here today, especially Ron. Sacred activism and the social platform is two of my really big parts. And so I'm excited to see that part incorporated. So I think that the benefits are, you just can't even name them all. So I'm very blessed by that and the Unity team. And I've got some big shoes to fill. So thank you.
Well, Rev Sarah, I will tell you, in my experience with this, it's so critically important to have support from the ministers, to have support from the podium, to have that kind of support. And what I loved about all of the 4 who presented is it feels like Earth Care, Green Team, whatever you want to call it, it's now in your congregational DNA. And it's really hard to get that to happen if you don't have it talked about from the podium, right? So that's fantastic.
And that is one of the things that we did, is the service once a month was another way of looking at environmentalism and spirituality, you know, all the way back to Genesis, when the world is born and we're given to take care of the earth, you know, and forward. So there's many lessons that can come from the pulpit. And that is very important, because there are some people that are only going to have that exposure to the church, and that's it. They're there on Sunday morning, and that's your chance. You know, you got to get them in. And so we did that. We made a very intentional, purposeful use of that time to raise the consciousness around it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and at Unity of Mills River, it's been really exciting to have Rev Darlene gets very excited, and she's very inspirational when she's speaking. But I also just want to give props to the rest of the team. I mean, the leadership, I think, of having that team, when you see people in your congregation who are really, really excited and really passionate about this, as the other people on this team are, and I will take myself out of that because, again, like I said, I attend meetings through email. So I feel like they're leading through the action more. But when they are excited about showing our fellow congregants what we can do, it's not things that people aren't willing to do. It's just like, oh, I didn't think about that. But if you're literally putting a sign in front of me saying compost and recycle and landfill, that's bringing the awareness. That made it so easy. If you literally just put hand towels in front of me instead of paper towels, and you're taking them home and washing them, then I'm going to use them instead of adding to the landfill. And so just getting them in the practice by having really passionate, excited leaders. And that goes for our team and also our Reverend.
Great comments. So the second, oh, go ahead.
I'm sorry. This is Christine Caceres. I'd like to just say, well, so Mike McCord has done an amazing job with this green team, and I'd like to talk that it can be a real challenge, because what can happen is you can have a lot of people excited, and maybe it's kind of the fad. It's a time when people really care about the environment. And then maybe there might be a time when people aren't as excited, and it's hard to keep going. And just keep remembering that everything you do is really seen and appreciated, but you may not feel it. And you may start to feel challenged, and you might feel like nobody cares, or they're not, you know, you might not have as much enthusiasm for something that you're doing. And just realize that people do care, and they do see you, and they do appreciate what you're doing. And sometimes, you know, you might have a meeting and nobody shows up. And what Mike does is he makes sure we have monthly meetings. He always lays out the year and thinks about, you know, what can we accomplish? And he started out by going after the low-hanging fruit. And I heard that with a lot of the other presenters, that they really started small, and they looked for things that would really make an impact and could bring other people in. But I really just wanted to encourage people who might be starting this, and it might not go so smoothly or easily or all come together quickly, and just encourage you to do what Mike did and just keep at it.
I really, really appreciate that. And I can tell you, serving on the worldwide team with Mike, I don't think we can appreciate enough him. That's the truth. And I've had those meetings where no one else showed. So very much appreciate that. The second question, and if anyone else wants to weigh in on the first, especially our panelists, but anyone else, the second question is related to these crazy times that we're in. And I believe these hopeful times that we're in, these necessary times. America is experiencing a serious self-examination of our previous norms as a result of COVID-19 and the racial and social unrest. We also are at a tipping point with regard to the ability to address climate change. Do you see, especially you Green Star Award winners, do you see any new opportunities for your environmental program because of these challenges that we are in? How's that factoring into your program and where you're at? And obviously this is all a work in progress.
I'll start. I think that one of the huge benefits about this is that everybody can see is that it's just a forced slowdown for all of us. And it's meant people are slowing down and rethinking what is normal, what do we want to go back to, but it's also meant slowing down at home and looking at your waste. People have not been able to go out and go shopping and replace things as often. So that, from that standpoint, is really making people be more aware of how am I making sure that I'm making food, clothing, household goods stretch. How do I just keep reusing what I have instead of this society of just replacing everything or getting another option. And then the along with that, I think that slowing down is one of the great reasons why during this, right after or after coming out of some of the closed states, not that the pandemic is in any way over, but as we start to have the majority of the country reopen, people are off work. And so they have time to come out and protest. And I think that it would have looked very, very different if we didn't have that happening. People have been forced to be out of work, which brings out a lot of the inequities, especially with race and what we are doing as a country to Black people and what we have continued to do. And it's hard for people to face, but I think that this is like the most painful healing time that we're all at, to rip off the Band-Aid and just look at what we have been doing is not working for our earth and for each other. And it's time to make a change with that. So I just think it's a brutal call to action, to stand up and act out in love and to take every action in love for each other and for the earth.
I so appreciate those comments. Very, very much so. Yeah, it's a powerful time. Others?
That's well said, Lisa, very well said, that this is an evolutionary moment for us, that us into New Thought theology, into unity and all that, understanding our interconnectedness, to come from that center of love that we share and not getting into the polarities, the blue state, red state, all this, just coming from that heart of love. So unfortunately, we have not been able to reconvene our whole Earth Care team because of this whole, we've been online. First Unity is a beautiful service online, but I think that this is going to really add to the potency of what we're saying. If you're watching what's happening in the environment, our relationship with the earth and her inhabitants. A lot of this COVID has started because of our relationship with animals.
Yeah, for sure.
We've exploited the earth, used it as a resource, and we can no longer do that. And our relationship with African Americans, Black Lives Matter, and indigenous lives, to include in that indigenous lives, what we've done to look deeply within. We've got to embrace this evolutionary moment and give our utmost. So I'm hoping that our team, our Earth Care team, will get together again with renewed vigor. That's my hope in this.
Thank you. Amen.
Hi. This is Christine Caceres, and I'd just like to say, I'd like to thank for everything that was said. I really agree with it. And when we see the protest, the people demonstrating and protesting, it takes so much bravery to do that. And I feel that speaking out and advocating is starting to become, amongst people, more acceptable. We're seeing the protesters in a different way. We're not seeing them in a negative light. We're seeing so many different people come together to support a common cause that may not even apply to them. And I think what's really important is that we need to start feeling like it's okay to speak out. So often when you speak out, maybe in the beginning people are like, oh, that's interesting, but then you might have some pushback. You might have people in the church that feel a little offended that you're talking about something they don't agree with. And so I think we need to look at the people who are feeling comfortable demonstrating and really be inspired by them and say, it's okay to stand up for important things. Our earth needs us, and we have to really feel the courage and see the courage that other people are having and know that it is okay to speak up about issues that need to be talked about.
So Christina, can I ask you a clarifying question? When you say we need to feel that way, are you saying the Earth Care team? Who's the we? For my own
Well, I'm saying the Earth Care team needs to know, because, and then I'm also saying that anyone who feels it in their heart, like if you feel this calling as it's been talked about, and maybe you start to speak up about it, but you get some pushback because it makes other people feel uncomfortable, you need to know that if at another church, I actually was doing Earth Care work and had someone say that they were personally offended and was quite upset about the climate change discussions that were being taken place and the resolutions that were being made. And I realized that it wasn't about that person. They felt like it was for some reason, but when you get pushback and you get people who, you know, voice their own upsetness, they're processing this, they're coming to grips with it, they feel kind of uncomfortable without it. So I'm sorry to go on, but I think everyone who feels it in their heart to speak out about something important, especially the climate that's in an emergency state, we need to feel like it's okay.
You know, at risk of opening another Pandora's box, my Earth Care colleagues will know that this is something I'm prone to do. I think it's interesting when I love everybody on this call, and I'm so appreciative of this movement, and almost everybody on this call is not a person of color. And I have been in the environmental movement for 25 plus years. That is still a challenge, and I believe it is a huge opportunity. It comes back to Ron's opening comments, which I really appreciated. And one of the things our Earth Care team, I hope I'm not going to get in trouble with my teammates, flag me in the chat if I am, that we're looking at is, you know, what's the junction between those of us who are unabashed tree-hugging environmentalists, but who also care about social justice and the social justice issues. So I don't have an answer to this. I'm just throwing out some provocative questions for you all to take with you, because we're coming up to the end of our time here, and I'm totally off the cuff on this, so I may get in trouble with my team. And then the other piece I would also say, talking about bravery and boldness and whatever, I personally, and I am just being personal here, I think it's also an awkward time to be a white person in how we interact with what is finally really bubbling in this country. And I personally believe it's important to be honest about the awkwardness. So, and it, you know, right now I was doing a little bit of writing earlier today, and I also have kind of this fear. We have climate, we have biodiversity, we have all of these environmental issues that we all know on this call are urgent, and yet they are less upfront and visible compared to the other really urgent issues that are going on right now in our time. So there's a lot of this going on. And with that little bit of a caveat, I would love to get, we had a commenter, Bob Panzer, who said awkwardness equals comfort equals change. I agree with that. I love that.
That's when you're in your growth space. If you're not in a space of awkwardness, then you're not stretching yourself, you're not educating yourself, you're not teaching yourself, and it takes being uncomfortable to grow. And it is hard to stand up for change, but that's the only way that happens, is by being that ripple effect first in your family and in your friends. And this experience of suddenly being aware of people that I did not expect to hear comments on going through this pandemic from either addressing Black Lives Matter or climate change, and let's just get out and reopen the economy, and I want to go shopping again, and I want to go drive my Jeep, and things that I didn't think that were that close to me, and trying to find the space of how do I reflect on myself so that I am not going out and offending anyone, because I know that I can be outspoken and I can come across as, I don't want to come across in a way that will turn anyone off. And at the same point, I'm not going to not speak to be nice. Because if it makes people feel uncomfortable, they're going to feel a lot more uncomfortable as our world keeps, as Mother Earth keeps becoming more and more sick. And as our society, well, I mean, I don't know that we can get more sick, that I just feel like we have been at such a point of pain. It's just not been videotaped till now. So, yeah.
I think it's great. And I have to say, again, right now, I'm in a time where I personally am being awakened to so many blind spots. And we just got a comment in the chat from one of our lovely Canadian supporters that we're all talking America. And he's like, not America, no offense, as an example, love ya, eh? Love that too. Yeah. So with that, and Mike McCord, you can step in whenever. I think we have a few more minutes of Q&A, and then we have a closeout prayer. So Mike, if we get to going with discussion, you just cut right in and take over, please. Mike or Kathy. So continuing on, and we've already segued into it, the final of the 3 questions that we put forward to the panelists is, what do you see as the role of your Earth Care program at this really important moment in history?
I see us as being awakeners, that we are speaking the truth, we're speaking it loudly, we're speaking it boldly. So I see us as awakening, not just ourselves, which we need always to be working on our own soul evolution, of course, but we need to be speaking to our congregations, to our communities, and all the understanding of our interconnectedness. So we are the awakeners as far as I'm concerned.
Awesome.
Douglas, you mentioned earlier in your comments about indigenous people. I don't know if everybody saw in the chat, but I gave my email address so that people can get a link for the Birthing New Earth global event that's happening the 22nd through the 25th of this month. There's going to be 25 prominent spiritual leaders, many of them Native American. So it's bigtdbear@gmail.com. It's in the chat.
Awesome. Thank you, Mark.
What was the name of that? That was called?
It's called the Birthing New Earth Global Event.
Thank you.
And I think he added the website link in the chat box.
That's my email address. If you email me, I will send you the link.
Anyone else have any insight on what our Earth Care program, our movement, which it is a new thought, environmental awareness stewardship movement, what is ours to do in these extraordinary times that we are living through?
I think ours is to keep educating. That's what we've been doing, and just to keep continuing to do that as we have new information to share, and as people have mastered or taken in and have assimilated what they've gotten so far and are ready for the next thing. And I think it's also a good idea for teams to have their church look at, probably a lot of people during this time have upgraded technology pieces, because all of a sudden it's the only way you're talking with your grandkids, or it's the only way kids are going to school. So I'm guessing there's going to be a huge amount of electronic devices that will be ready to be repurposed, and making sure that we're educating our congregants on how to do that. And that's just one small way. But
that's such a great point, actually. And how can they be reused when possible? That's a really super good point. I hadn't even thought about that yet. Thank you.
And I would agree. Oh, go ahead.
We've got a couple
kind of a forum regularly, just kind of a, rather than once a year, just having an interconnectedness on a more regular quarterly or something like that, Earth Care on a regular basis.
Awesome. Thank you.
Kathy, you were trying to say something also. Sorry, I interrupted you.
Yeah,
I just wanted to say that I was at a large, march demonstration today in my hometown here of Kalamazoo, Michigan. And I led the Earth Care team at Unity of Kalamazoo for 3 years, and now I've expanded out and I'm part of the Kalamazoo Climate Crisis Coalition. I was part of the Earth Day committee. I'm doing a lot, in the community as well. And so we were downtown and there were tons of plastic bottles being passed out for free, because it was hot and we'd all been marching. And I was so discouraged to see all these plastic bottles, in our major park downtown just being thrown in the trash. They weren't being recycled. And I was thinking, oh my gosh, I need to just run to the store really quick and buy some big garbage bags and start collecting them and asking people to put them in the bag for recycling. Because that's the easiest thing there is to recycle. But it reminded me again of, okay, first of all, we have to ask ourselves, what is it that I am supposed to do? I'm thinking, why didn't you think of this ahead of time? You've seen this happen before. And so we all have to remember how important, just our ideas or just us getting the initiative going, because a lot of people will join in once they're like, oh yeah, we need to be recycling.
No, I really appreciate that, Nancy, for sure. And the plastics issue, there's a lot of environmental benefits from our time out, but the increase in plastics is one of the ones that we all need to be leaning into as much as possible.
Yeah, it's been so frustrating with the plastic bags, not being able to bring your own reusable bag into the grocery store and all of that.
We've had a plastic setback for sure. So that's something that we can all be thinking about in our own communities. We're coming right up on our time, so I think I want to.
Hi, David Cordova here from San Antonio, Texas, and I want to give a shout out to Nancy Apple. She was part of my green team in San Antonio, and she helped create a recycling system that still exists to this day. Furthermore, just to be sure you all are aware, we have a monthly mentoring call on the third Saturday of the month, and it's an open invitation for people to come together. We're using a system called Collaborate. I send it out an invitation, but if you write to me at Dave Cordova, that's Cordova at msn.com, you can get on the mail list and we can have a monthly discussion about how to create green teams, how to support, and give us an opportunity to share our wisdom.
Thank you, David.
Awesome. So I think, as if I'm looking at it correctly, we're ready to kind of hand it over back to Kathy, our main host, for a pray out. If I'm missing something, jump in and correct me.
Just about done. Just about done.
Okay, everybody. I think we're just about done. I heard that said. Friends, I want to just invite us into what we in Unity have been learning, living for over 100 years, and that is that this change that we long for, this vision that we hold for the earth, for the people of the earth, this all begins within. So as we come together in prayer on the solstice, and let's remember that, we've come together at a time of great light, at least here in the Northern Hemisphere. We're calling upon the light. And I would just say that let's breathe. Let's breathe. That can be our first prayer into the earth, is this breath. And in a time when the voice is being lifted up, I can't breathe, let's know that the very life breath breathes us. And that when we feel challenged to face into the many complicated facets of life on earth, let us pray that we may be strong and courageous and attune ourselves to the light that reveals, the light that guides us, the light that shows us the creative solutions. When we feel heavy, as we touch into that heart that feels so wounded in humanity and the different ways that we have been able to start facing into what we have done to each other, let us also touch prayerfully the love, the great love of this universe that draws us together by divine appointment. So we say yes to light, yes to love, yes to strength and courage. And for the water, the earth, the air, and all living creatures and all living things, we are together. We are together in this vision, in this prayer, in this way of living of oneness. We pray in the knowing that we are one and that we are better together, and we go forward together. And the creative dimension of life is revealing our way to address that which is ours to address. We give thanks for all these amazing people that have come here together tonight, representing their ministries, their communities, their children, their grandchildren. We're so grateful for the leaders in our midst that take the time to create the efforts, action, lives dedicated to not only the environmental justice, but also the social justice. And so with our hearts filled with gratitude, we say, Amen. In this ancient language of Jesus, we plant this vision in the earth that it may grow. Amen. So it is. Thank you, friends.
Amen. So it
And
is.
if anybody wants to share the chat, under the chat file where it says file, there's 3 little dots, and you can save the chat before the meeting ends if you want to capture some of the website and stuff.
Perfect. Thank you, Sharon. Okay, friends, until we do this again, a year from now, show up in the mentoring calls. more right there. Love ya.
Woo-woo! Love ya!
Love you.
You can unmute and clap and say, love ya, and we can share that.
Yes.
Namaste. Namaste.
Bravo.
Namaste.
Thank you, Ron.
God bless you all. God bless us, everyone.
Yes.
Be with you.
Bless you.
Namaste.
Thank you, Mike.
Namaste.
Thank you,
Namaste.
Kathy.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Hi, everybody.
Comes the kitty.
Aw. All right.
Good night.